What's up, movie lovers? I'm Mike, and this is Gotta Love Them Movies. So you guys, my humblest of apologies. I haven't done any videos for a while, but I have seen a whole bunch of films, all of which I'm going to condense into one video. So stick with me because we've got 7 movies to get through. 7 movies, including Angry Birds, The Boss, Criminal, Keanu, The Man Who Knew Infinity, Money Monster, The Nice Guys. So yeah, we're gonna touch on a lot of stuff. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. All right, first off the bat, we're going with The Boss. Melissa McCarthy is The Boss. This film was okay. It was fine. I think it got like an 18% on Rotten Tomatoes. That seems a bit harsh. It seems a bit harsh, guys. It's not terrible. It's not an awful movie. It's definitely not her best comedy. My personal favorite is the one that she did with Sandra Bullock. The Heat. The Heat. That's my personal favorite Melissa McCarthy vehicle. I think that works perfectly for her. The Boss, it's, similar things. It's Melissa McCarthy playing Melissa McCarthy. And it's just in a different vehicle. I mean, a lot of the story tropes are, it's, what are you going to do? It's kind of predictable. But, you don't go to a Melissa McCarthy movie because you want to figure out what's going to happen before it happens. Like, I don't know. It was a fun movie. It was fine. Gotta Love Them Movies is going to give it a 3 out of 5.
Tell him about the Twinkie.
What about the Twinkie?
Criminal with Kevin Costner and Tommy Lee Jones and Ryan Reynolds and the other guy, Commissioner Gordon from the Dark Knight series, who also played Dracula. Gary... Oh, it's killing me. What's his name? Gary Oldman. I knew I'd get there eventually. Gary Oldman. It's kind of a ridiculous premise. You have a super secret agent, Ryan Reynolds, which, yeah, I don't know. It's a weird premise. Yeah. So super secret spy Ryan Reynolds is in London, and first of all, I will say, for clarity's sake, you don't know if Ryan Reynolds is a good guy or a bad guy, even though the film seems to think that it did its job in telling you if he's a good guy or a bad guy, but it didn't. You have to get maybe 20 minutes into the movie, and you're like, oh. Anyway, doesn't matter. Super secret agent Ryan Reynolds is killed during this operation or whatever, and then they take his memories from his dead corpse and then put it into the mind of one of the world's worst criminals, who's Kevin Costner, because they have similar backgrounds. The frontal lobe of their brain is deformed in a similar... I don't know. It was weird. I didn't really understand the science behind it. Anyway, it was a really bizarre premise. So the CIA or whoever this super spy secret agency is, they're trying to... After they put Ryan Reynolds' memories into Kevin Costner's brain, they're trying to find out where the money is, and there's nuclear bomb codes involved somehow. It's weird. If you can get past the weird premise of it, it's an okay movie. It wasn't fantastic, but I didn't think it was terrible. It's super predictable though. I don't ever need to watch it again. And probably based on that premise, I would like to give it a higher score, because I think everybody gives a fine performance. Kevin Costner does a fine job. Gary Oldman does a fine job. Tommy Lee Jones is Tommy Lee Jones. I think there's a few other people in it that I really don't care about. Yeah, I want to give it a higher score, but I think Gotta Love Them Movies is going to give it a 2 out of 5.
I'd buy that for $1.
Also, Kevin Costner had a really weird haircut in that movie. Next, Keanu! I think I like this movie more than I should have. It was fun. It was just stupid. If you've seen John Wick, or rather, if you haven't seen John Wick, it might help to see that movie before you see Keanu. It's not necessary. But it kind of helps to lay a little background as to why this movie does the things that it does. Also, Boondock Saints. If you haven't seen Boondock Saints, there's a few elements from Boondock Saints. And it doesn't matter. I mean, it's a stupid... Here's the thing. If you like Key and Peele, you'll like the movie. If you don't care for Key and Peele, then you probably won't like the movie. I, for one, enjoyed it. I will say, there was one sequence that they play it out in the trailer, and it goes by like super fast. It's the scene where Keegan-Michael Key is in the minivan, and like the other gangsters in the minivan like are going through his iTunes playlist, and they find George Michael. So like that scene, without giving anything away, there's something else happening outside the van, and they keep cutting back and forth to like inside the van, outside the van, inside the van, outside the van, inside the van, outside the van, inside, outside, inside, out, in, out, out. And we're like, can we just like condense this into maybe like a 5 to 7 minute sequence? Because I think it played out for like 15 minutes, and I was just, woo! Okay, like, what else is happening? I was getting so bored with that particular scene. I mean, it was funny, but, I mean, it needed to be... The comedic timing was, like, really stretched out, and it needed to be shortened and condensed. Other than that, it was fine. I enjoyed it. It was silly. It was fun. So, all in all... oh, Keanu. Yeah, I don't know. I like I say, I think I liked it too much, so I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5.
There's a big snake in the plane, Doc!
Oh, that's just my pet snake, Reggie!
I hate snakes, Doc! I hate them!
But it probably only deserves a 3, maybe 3.5. Yeah, I think we need a new rating system. I'm gonna start working on a new rating system. Yeah, we're going to stick with a 4 out of 5. It's fine. The Man Who Knew Infinity. I'd never heard of this film, and I'm guessing many of you have never heard of this film. Man Who Knew Infinity stars Dev Patel, who wants to be a millionaire! And Scar, who played Scar? Same guy who played Alfred. Jeremy Irons. It's a true story, based on a true story, about this Indian dude. It was just before World War I. He'd figured out like all kinds of like super math equations and blah blah blah, like really high tech stuff for the time, like stuff that people were saying could never be done. It was a really good movie, really well told story. So he comes to England, I think to Cambridge University, and he starts working with Jeremy Irons, and they start proving their work. I was surprised because I had never heard of the story before. I was not familiar with any of these facts, but they also like really laid a lot of the groundwork for modern day mathematics and helps to figure out all of the formulas and the shortcuts and blah blah blah. I don't know math. I went to an art school, so my understanding of math is pretty low. That being said, a lot of the stuff in the world that we have today would not have been possible had it not been for this Indian dude, was it pre-World War I, Ramanujan. So, The Man Who Knew Infinity, if you're into dramas, it's a really, really well-told story. And it was beautiful to look at, and I really enjoyed it. So, 4 out of 5.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
Money Monster! Yet another film? I made it sound like a bad thing. Jodie Foster directs Money Monster, starring Julia Roberts and George Clooney, formerly of the Joel Schumacher Batman franchise. So I really, really loved this movie originally when it was called Mad City with Dustin Hoffman and John Travolta. I don't know. Money Monster, it was fine. It was okay. But it was almost kind of a remake of Mad City. I think Mad City did it better. You have a guy who loses his job in Mad City, or in Money Monster, a guy who loses $60,000 on a bad investment. So they come to this place of institution. I kind of feel like it was lacking something. Like, they did a pretty good job telling the story and had a greater kind of moral high ground that it was taking and saying, hey, guys, let's actually take a close look at where our money is going and what's happening to our money and all that stuff. Keep track of your own stuff and, you know, take accountability for your actions, that kind of thing. It was just kind of long and drawn out, and I hate using the word predictable all the time, but I mean, it was kind of predictable. Like, just before something happens, you'll have the thought of like, oh, well, I wonder if this is going to happen. Yep, there, okay, yep, there it is. So that just happened. I feel like in the movie Mad City, the stakes were bigger. Even though, like, Money Monster was on a larger scale, Mad City made it personal and it made it real, and the stakes were more involved. Without giving anything away, there's one element to Money Monster that kind of during the reveal portion of the film, you come to find out, oh, well, the stakes weren't as high as I thought they were. I think that's the best way to put it. It makes you believe that the stakes were way up here out of 10, but it's really kind of more at like a 3. But by that point, it's already on a huge, massive scale, so you kind of don't care. Well, I mean, you do care that the stakes have gone down to a 3. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't know. It was okay. It was fine. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was what it was. So Gotta Love Them Movies is going to give it a 3 out of 5.
2 in the box. Ready to go.
We be fast and
They be slow.
The Nice Guys with Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling. America's Ryan Gosling. Can we officially name him America's Ryan Gosling? I mean, who doesn't love this guy? Also, I will say this about Russell Crowe. This is the first movie, and I had this thought while I was watching it. This is the first movie I've ever seen Russell Crowe in that I was like, I really like Russell Crowe. Like, yeah, he's done a lot of really good movies. I mean, Beautiful Mind is, you know, that's kind of a classic film. Or was it Master and Commander? I don't know. He's done a lot of movies. I can't think of what they are. Robin Hood. But yeah, Nice Guys. I really liked Russell Crowe in this. It was kind of the first time that I can actually think off the top of my head that he's done, like, kind of a lighthearted comedy film. And it suited him really well. He played the part really well. It was believable. It was fun. It was a little bit more, I'm going to use the word graphic than I expected. That being said, it was fun. It was a really good Shane Black movie. Really good style. And there was an element of and she's in the trailer, so Ryan Gosling's daughter, that I was like, oh, like they're using her more than I thought they would, but it worked. Like it worked for the story. I thought I was not going to like that element too much, but it turned out fine. So yeah, Gotta Love Them Movies is going to give it a 4 out of 5.
Sneak surprise.
All right, last but not least, movie number 7, Angry Birds. The Angry Birds movie. I've previously gone on record by saying that I was more interested than I was excited to see the Angry Birds movie, because this is, okay, let's be real. This is the first movie ever based on an iPhone app, which really begs the question, how is this going to work? I think this movie would have had a better reception had it come out 6 years ago. So that's number 1. Number 2, I think this movie would have been more fun and a little bit better had it had a better soundtrack. I mean, there were a lot of songs individually that worked, like, was it Gloria Gaynor's I Will Survive? In the trailer, they used Michael Jackson's Bad, and they didn't use it in the movie, so that seemed kind of wasted. At one point, they started playing Behind Blue Eyes, and I was like, ooh, The Who! And it was Limp Bizkit. Not that that's like... Not that it's a bad version of that song, but I was just like, there's a song that I haven't heard since, was it 2004 or something? It wasn't a bad film. That's the thing. It wasn't a bad movie. The concept from start to finish, it made sense. There was one segment that I will wholeheartedly admit I kind of fell asleep during, like right in the middle, when they're talking about the whole Great Eagle business. That was kind of boring. Maybe it was just because I was super tired, but I legitimately fell asleep. You think Angry Birds, you think birds being shot out of a slingshot. And even though that happens in the movie, the sequence isn't that long. I kind of feel like this was the moment that everything was building up to, and it was less about like destroying the homes that the pigs lived in than it was about, you know, other story elements, which I guess is fine. I don't know, it just... Everything seemed to work. It wasn't quite what I expected. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I don't know, I keep saying, I don't know, I think. 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 I guess I don't know what I think. Angry Birds movie is a fine film. It's not going to win any Academy Awards. It's probably going to be nominated for Best Animation because it's a really big movie that's animated. So it'll probably be nominated, but it's not going to win. The art direction, I actually enjoyed the art direction. And I will say this about the same thing that I said about Keanu in that one sequence. I just kind of feel like the whole movie as a whole needed to be condensed and shortened down a little bit. It was just kind of, hey, we're birds and some of us get angry, so we have to go to anger management therapy. And it was kind of, okay, all right. I guess that's the angry bird element. Yeah, that's the thing. There weren't any real angry birds. Everyone just kind of... The majority kind of had their moment of like, I'm angry, and then after that moment was over, it was just like, all right, well, now we get to go back to being happy, fun, lovable birds. And they can't fly. What's up with birds not being able to fly? That was bizarre. I don't know. I guess it worked for the movie. Anyway, long story short, Gotta Love Them Movies is going to give it a 3 out of 5.
There's serious metal fatigue in all the load-bearing members. The wiring is substandard. It's completely inadequate for our power needs. And the neighborhood is like a demilitarized zone.
So guys, I want to know what you thought of all 7 of these movies. Have you seen all 7? Have you seen only 1 out of 7? Have you seen none of them? I want to know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Please leave me a comment. Also, if you like this video, click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share, because sharing's caring. Alright, movie lovers, I'm out of here.